Hey guys, thank you for checking out this episode. We'd love your support by heading to patreon.com/freshlygrounded. It really does make a difference in helping us continue making this content. And if not, no stress. Enjoy. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Freshly Grounded, episode 187. This episode is with our dear brother, Zach Bendif. Am I saying that right?
Yeah, you're saying it right.
And okay, we're going to try and do this all in one go. We're doing the intro before the video again, like we do sometimes. Guys, please remember that if you like podcasts, you might like audiobooks. And if you do like audiobooks, then you want to go to the number one platform for audiobooks, which is Audible. And we have a link in our bio. If you sign up for Audible there, what happens is you get one free audiobook, or you get something like a free month. And it's up to you, whichever one you want. And the advantage of using our link is that it supports Freshly Grounded. If you sign up to Audible with Freshly Grounded's link, then Audible will give us a small kickback to support the podcast. So please do that. Please do that. Do. Also, before we get into the episode, I feel like I'm missing so many pointers. Kareem normally has like this thing written for me, like things I need to remember to say, but I'm going rogue here. Candy box. Okay, so if you're watching this on video, you can see that the box is actually open, but basically, Candy Box was so generous. They sent us some boxes of American candy to Freshly Grounded to the office. The reason it's open, it was so beautiful, and I wanted to show you guys, but it was basically, you opened it, and it said like Eid Mubarak Faisal, and then it had like all of these nice American sweets, like Hershey's stuff, like really nice stuff that you don't get much in the UK. Well, I know you get Hershey's in the UK, but like other stuff as well. And what happened is we got this a few days ago, and in our office is full of men who, given the opportunity to consume free food, will always accept. And that's what happened. And so most of the sweets are gone, but it was very tasty. And I really, really recommend it, guys. If you want to, so basically they gave me their Eid box, which is really, really nice. So they've got two boxes, a standard Eid box and a family Eid box. Everything's halal. And if you're vegetarian, then they can take away like the one or two sweets that have like halal gelatin in them. So you got the standard box and the family box. And you can buy them from candyboxldn.com. And their Instagram is candyboxldn. You get 10% discount if you type in FG10 when you're purchasing the product. And if you want to get your product in time for Eid, you basically have to get it ASAP. Because I think the cutoff is like early next week, so in a few days' time. But really, 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 really nice gift for your loved ones, or just have at the house. They customize it, so you can have your customization for free. So it will say like Eid Mubarak, Maryam, or Khadija, or Zakaria, or Abdullah, or...
You can go on for ages with this one.
Yeah, you could. So guys, check them out. They've been very, very kind and generous to us. And without any further ado, I think that's it for now. So let's jump into the episode with Zach Bendif.
And welcome to Freshly Grounded, the brand new podcast by best friends Faisal and Sam.
Huh?
I said welcome to Freshly Grounded,
After that bit.
the brand new podcast
And after that bit?
by best friends Faisal and Sam.
Really?
Okay, we have Mr. Bendif in the building who did that whole intro, mimed that whole intro. Thank you for that. I was about to call you Ben. Thank you for that, Ben.
Bendif, whatever you want, mate.
Yeah. Zach, Jazakallah khair for joining me today.
No, thank you for the invite, man.
You are very welcome. How's things, man?
Alhamdulillah, man. Alhamdulillah. You know how it is, living, breathing. That's all we can say.
Alhamdulillah. And you're in your lovely Algeria football outfit.
Yep, as always. Me, football kits. That's how we're living.
So you got a game after this?
No, it's just a thing where for me, since I was young, I've been into football shirts and stuff like that. And it's like I try to make it casual, where I'd wear my football gear as my casual wear, and I think it looks cool. And yeah.
Yeah, it does look cool, man. Do you? If that's how you do it, carry on doing it.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, don't change it.
Yeah.
But it does look like you got a game after this.
A lot of people say that, subhanAllah.
Oh man, it's lovely to have you on because obviously you and I have met briefly on like maybe 1 or 2 charity appeals or...
That's it.
That's it.
And we've got mutual friends. Or
we have
mutual
mutual,
people?
we have mutual friends, mutual acquaintances.
Acquaintances. I
Yeah.
think that's the right word to use.
No, friends.
But
But it's lovely to like be able to have you down here, man, and chat to you. And I've been seeing your content over the past kind of couple weeks, especially or months during the coronavirus, and you've been very active in helping the community in Queen's Park.
Yeah. So the organisation I work for throughout the period was called QPG, is Queen's Park Community and Sports Hub in Queen's Park, and yeah, so we just deal with a lot of the community in that region there.
And what is exactly that you did? Because I was watching your stories and stuff. It looked really, really cool.
So subhanAllah, I've been working volunteering for QPG now for over a year and a half, and before the coronavirus, we were like providing activities for young people. So that's like after school club, breakfast club, lunchtime club, stuff like that. And this was for primary school kids. And obviously the coronavirus came and we just adapted straight away. And we were like, we can't sit around and do nothing. Let's do something. So we can't sit around and do nothing. Let's do something. And obviously my boss at the time was like, let's provide food for the elderly and the shielded people. And yeah, that's what we've been doing for about 3.5, 4 months right now.
How have your conversations been with the elderly?
Wallahi, I said this in a promotional video that it was for something called the Joe Cox Foundation. And what I said was, I didn't know that community before. And since like providing food and, lockdown and the coronavirus, it had its positives and it had a lot of its negatives. It had its negatives because obviously you can't see your family, you can't see your friends and stuff like that. But the positives that I got from it was like being able to make new bonds with people and elders. It was just beautiful. Allah, it was just beautiful.
What kind of conversations were they though? Like, were people like just generally grateful? Did you find that people were very kind? And
do you know what it is? It's like I'd walk down the road. So if you know Queen's Park, there's a station. You walk down. There's a school where we work, obviously, and then there's like a whole strip called Fifth Avenue, and that's where we did the majority of our deliveries. And you'd walk in, knock on the door, provide them with food, and a lot of them are like live alone. They're over the age of 60, 70, and it's like genuinely need our help, because without us, they can't go to the shops, because especially, and you remember the first month of lockdown where it was literally so strict, where you go like they weren't even allowed to move, and without us, they couldn't have that fresh food that we provide.
yeah, man, I remember it was powerful at the beginning, because at the beginning when it spiked at most, it was like. Did it ever get to like 1,000 deaths per day?
960 something, I think.
Yeah,
960 something was at the most.
Wow. Yeah, I remember because at that period, because my nan would probably be classed as, or definitely is classed as elderly.
Yeah.
And I remember at the beginning period, especially, we were like super strict on her. You can't leave the house. No matter what. We were like dropping off food for her. We were dropping off food and like leaving it outside the door, or like outside the second door, because she lives in a block of flats, and then knocking and then walking away, and then when we're gone, then she'd come pick up. So like we weren't seeing her. And then as time went on, we would like be able to, when the death rate started going down and stuff, we started knocking on her door and then like standing like far back and at least being able to have a chat. But it was hard for her, man, because the elderly, I think, it's sad, man. Like, I don't think we realize how much they appreciate some love and attention, because we're not at that age, and that's a shame, because by the time we get to that age, we'll realize it ourselves, but it'll be too late to do anything for other elderly, right? And you can see it when like my nan started really getting, came a point where she just said enough is enough. Like if me being inside my house is gonna be like keeping me safe, but like I'm just sad because I don't get to see any of my grandchildren, I don't see my children, don't see my great grandchildren, I don't see anybody. That made it really sad, man. And so alhamdulillah, now obviously a situation where we can see her and stuff, and it's really nice. But I don't think we appreciate how tough it is. And I imagine it's like when you're older, you like built this dynasty, right? You have kids and kids and kids and kids and kids, etc.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, it's like there's no use for you anymore.
Yeah. It's like I always thought about this, and my nan says the exact same thing to me. She goes, when you're born, you're a kid. Then you go through a big chunk of your life where you're like growing up and you're the working age. then you're like, subhanallah, the way Allah's created us, you become a kid again. And it's like you need that someone to care for you. So it's like you have the two dependent ages, where it's like when you're first born and you're about technically to like you're in the latter stages of your life, and it's like them two sides there. You're very, very dependent on other people, and seeing and going and knocking on doors and speaking to people. Wallahi, sometimes, honestly speaking, there's one guy that always. One elderly man that always, when I knock on his door, it's like he wants me to talk to him. It's like and you know, like you'll talk about so many different things, like football, you name it, like his past and growing up and his kids and stuff like that, and that's all they want. It's like all they want is a chat. But yeah, I've loved it. I can't lie.
Yeah, I think that we. Like they say that little things, like for example, like remembering someone's name is really important, and stuff like that. And I think that sometimes, and like alhamdulillah, in our communities, a lot of the elderly get a lot of love and attention. But I think sometimes it's even simpler than remembering someone's name. It's like perhaps just wanting to feel noticed. I'm assuming because I'm not old, right? And alhamdulillah, I have people around me, and but it's the nicest conversations I've had have always been with, like when I've been standing in the queue for the post office and ended up having a chat with like the elderly lady behind me or the elderly man. I mean, they're always so kind, so generous, so open, and they talk about what things were like in their generation, and it makes you realize you could learn so much. Like, bro, experience is such a big lesson. There's a scholar who says that I don't know which sheikh it is, but he says that you should always assume that anybody you meet is better than you, right?
100%.
And the way you should assume that they're better than you is because if they're younger than you, it means that they have less sins than you, and therefore they're better than you.
More innocent.
And if they're older than you, they have more experience and knowledge, and therefore they're better than you. So you should never assume that you're better than anyone. And it goes that I suppose it's like that when you see the elderly and you meet the elderly. Like you could literally just say, "Tell me a story about something that happened in your life that was like a turning point." And bro, they would tell you something that would probably put you to tears.
And you know what it is? It's the wisdom.
Yeah.
For me, it's the wisdom.
Yeah.
Because it's like, and I always say this to all my friends and everything. For me, my biggest role model is my dad. And that's because, honestly speaking, there's nobody in this world where I look up to and I'm like, I want to be like you. Like, and it's like you see my dad since I was young, wisdom, wallahi, like I can't explain it. It's like he would talk to me, anything that I do wrong or something like this. He has a demeanor where it's like you want to better yourself, and it's like subhanallah, like if I ever try to seek perfection, I try to be like my dad.
Wow.
And like you said, you always look up to people who are older than you because they've got they're wise and stuff like that. And he's always told me that because he's like, it's best for you to have friends who are older than you because they've been through more, and you learn more from them. Rather than have, obviously there's no problem with having either, but he's always told me that, and I've always taken that on board.
What's it like being the age that you're at right now? Because I'm 20, so I'm 26 and you're 20.
You look
right?
younger than that.
No. Stop it. Flattery will get you everywhere. So okay, I'm 26, right?
Yeah.
And you're 20. And those listening might say, well, that's not a big age difference. It's not. We're probably in the same generation, right?
Yeah.
But I think in your core years, it's very different. And I say that these are your core years. Like, I think once you hit adulthood, like where you're hitting now, age isn't really a thing in the sense that everybody, like, you go to work and people are different ages and stuff. But in your core years, like growing up, if you're like 16 and the person that you're talking to is 17, or your brother is 17, like your brother, it's like he's gone through like the world of a difference in an experience.
It's true.
And when you're 20, where you are now, I feel like 20 is that age where it's like, okay, you've gone past all of your learning now.
Yeah.
You've gone past all of your mistakes now, and now it's time to transition into like official adulthood and manlyhood, right? And obviously, Islamically speaking, you enter adulthood in a much earlier age. But if we're talking about society, so what is it like now? Because I was where you are 6 years ago, and I know what things were like for me. So how do you feel at this age of 20? Like, where's your mindset? Because you're kind of coming to the end of the degree, and now you're gonna have to start thinking about career and family and all of that kind of stuff. What's it like?
Do you know what? It's very perplexing. I think that's the right word to use, because I speak to a lot of my friends that are around the same age as me, and we're all like seeing the same things right now, because you're very confused as to what you want to do in the future. You know what you want, but you also, and especially right now, during this period that we're in right now, I feel like it's affected a lot of us around our ages even more, because it's like there's no certainty of what you want to do next. With regards to how I've wanted to live my life and stuff like that, since subhanAllah, like since I was young, obviously, like you said, made your mistakes at a young age and stuff like that. I hit a certain age. I hit 17, and I was like, khalas, like I just want to change my life and like try to be a better person and stuff like that. And then since I hit 17, that's when the thing that you're saying, where it's like trying to grow up and stuff like that. Like I said before, my dad, like being the oldest as well. Like, I know you're not the oldest, but being the oldest,
I'm the middle child.
yeah. I've got a little brother as well. He's also a little child, and yeah, the very confusing ones, the little child. Because it's like we're the oldest, and we get picked on for everything. Oh, you've done this wrong, you've done this wrong, and then the middle child is always the one that gets away with it. The little one is the one that's like loved by the family. But yeah, so
I'm just like the middle. I'm just like bang in the middle.
Yeah. So I'm guessing. Yeah. Are you the loved one? Are you the favorite?
It's a complicated game. We'll be here for a long time.
But yeah, but like I said, hit the 17. Then after that, it was like my dad always said to me, try to better yourself all the time. And being the oldest, watch what you do and how you act, because anything that you do and act, your siblings will follow you. And it was always that, I don't want to call it pressure, but I think it was healthy pressure, because it was like growing up, you're not really allowed to make mistakes, which grounds you to a certain degree, because you're not only thinking, if I sin or if I do this wrong, I'm affecting myself, but I could also be affecting my sister and my brother, because they're looking up to me.
Yeah, I think if you take it from like someone who has an older brother and has an older sister, it's true, man. Like you grow up looking to them for how they did it and trying to learn from their mistakes, and you get advice from them. But with that being said, bro, I feel like when you are the oldest, it's like Allah put you in this position for a reason, right? And it's like Allah gives you this extra layer of responsibility, but also like the maturity to handle it. And that's why I think you often find that the older siblings are kind of a bit more mature and stuff. I think
have to be. You have to be.
Yeah, I think like you end up naturally having this like aura of, all right, I'm the oldest. Like if we're in a situation where our parents aren't there, I'm the one who's going to have to be.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Because it's one of them ones as well where obviously my parents are first generation immigrants.
Okay.
Where they both migrated from Algeria, and they don't really understand the system here. Education system, society. My dad's very wise when it comes to like understanding and everything, but it's not really, because they haven't lived here. And like they haven't grown up here. Which is different, because that's why my siblings now look up to me as to how I've done things, the way I've been through the education process, how I am with my friends, how I behave and stuff like that. And yeah, it is very important to always try to strive to be better in terms of that.
Yeah, it's powerful, man. See, the family dynamic is a really interesting dynamic, but it's lovely when you think about it. So at the age of 20, what's your thoughts with regards to family? Like, I remember when I was 20, I had decided that I need to get married as soon as possible. What did you, because a lot of 20-year-olds now I'm chatting to, and they're like, nah, bruv, like, not yet. What's your mentality on that?
I've wanted to get married for quite.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's powerful. I like that, man.
Yeah.
But why not? You're 20. You're a man now.
Yeah.
Start your life, bruv.
Make that for me, please.
Inshallah, man.
But honestly, I've been wanting to get married since I was like 20. This is 1920.
Yeah, and you're 20 now?
Yeah.
Still?
No, but I'm turning 21 next week.
Next week?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're 20.
Yeah. For
okay.
now.
Bro, it's good. I got married. I was gonna get married at 21, your age, but
it's hard
we moved it by about 2-3 months, and I became 22 in that time.
Mashallah, it's hard though, especially in like obviously different communities.
Yeah.
Where you have North African community. Well, obviously I'm from North African community. You're from an Asian background. It's like there's a lot of like stigma behind getting married young.
Yeah.
Because you're not ready for it.
Right.
Or you're not ready for responsibilities.
Yeah, you need to get a job, a house.
House and stuff like that. When in reality, and I say this all the time, parents need to be easier. Because wallahi, you need to understand how it is out there. it's not easy. Wallahi, it's not easy. And I feel like if somebody genuinely has the right intentions in doing the right thing and trying to do the right thing, then make it easy for them.
Yeah, I think it's beautiful that you want to get married, a young man. Honestly, like I respect that, and you're choosing to try and protect yourself. And why would Allah not aid you in that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So in a sense that like the job, and all that kind of stuff, it gets figured out, bro. It gets figured out, definitely. So.
Yeah.
And the beautiful thing is that marriage in Islam is so simple, so small, just a nikah and you're done. Whereas obviously we make it into a big thing as well, which is a whole nother discussion. You know what? I remember when I first jumped on YouTube and stuff, and one of the first people I met was Abu Bakr Islam.
Yeah.
And Abu Bakr Islam, what he said to me was, he said, bro, try and like stick to your people in the sense that try and like help your people, help your community, right? And he said, for example, he goes, if you now start making videos telling reverts that they need to like be strong in their struggle and this, that, the other, he said that you don't relate to reverts in that way, and it's not what you've known growing up, right?
Yeah.
Not to say that you can't talk to reverts, but he said that me, for example, he was talking about himself. He said it wouldn't be right. Like, it would be weird if I start talking about why Asians spend so much money on their weddings and have such big weddings, which is, you know, not the smartest of things. But he said you can, because you are from that culture and community. So I think that's powerful. And I know that you're like also kind of like passionate about helping your community and stuff like that. And I think that was really good advice that I took on board, and it helped me up to then. So I'll pass that back on to you if it's useful for you. That advice.
Well, as in,
like whatever, because you've lived in your community, and you've grown up in like the Algerian community and stuff. You will know the struggles more than me being from Pakistani community. And so perhaps your responsibility is to help in moving that along in I don't know if there's anything in the community where you're being raised in.
do you know
what I mean?
Yeah, I get what you're trying to say. Obviously for us, it's not the same thing as, like, for example, Asian background, where you guys are second or third generation.
That's a very good point. That's a very good point. Yeah.
Majority of us, apart from certain that you get Moroccans who've migrated to the UK before us, so they're probably second generation immigrants. But obviously Asians have been here longer. Pakistanis, Indians, and stuff like that. They've been here longer. Whereas North Africans, you don't see them as much. And our generation, so the generation that's growing up right now, so 20, 21, 22, we're the ones now where change needs to happen from us, from in every single field, because and it became a thing about a year and a half ago, where a group of us started societies. Remember when we were at
the brothers. What are the brothers' names again?
Nadir, me, Nadir.
Who's the brother who curly hair? They all got curly hair, haven't they?
Slims is one of them.
But no, the big brother, the one who like looks like he goes gym.
I can't remember. Wait, big brother, Tool,
yeah.
I think you're talking about Amin.
Nah, that doesn't sound familiar.
Big brother.
From what I remember.
Nadir, that's who you're talking about.
Oh, Nadir. Yeah. I'm talking about Nadir.
That's what you're talking about.
Yeah, I'm talking about Nadir. You're right.
Yeah. And so we started societies and universities to try to like change the whole, growing up. Obviously, let me pass the question on to you. Growing up, did you feel like who you are? As in, did you feel Pakistani or did you feel Asian?
No. Oh.
To a certain degree.
Yeah, I guess.
Whilst being British as well.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, there's always this identity crisis within all of us. But yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
It's like, so you felt that, right?
Yeah, like when we would go to the mosque, it would be like a Pakistani mosque.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So you could feel that sense of community, and when it came to like Eid, Ramadan, and stuff like that, you had that community to go to and stuff like that.
Definitely.
We don't have that.
Okay.
You see the difference? And it's like the younger community, a lot of us, especially that are based in West London, you see knife crime. You see kids on the streets. You see like it's like we're fighting each other, and wallahi, like it's haram, bro. Like stuff like this it saddens you, because it's like, what can we do to try and change that? And obviously trying to bring the community together with like events, and like we've had a lot of football matches to try and raise money, has helped it to a certain degree. But it is very difficult because we don't get backing from older generation, and it's like always like in our community is a bit different, where they'll look down upon the youth and be like, oh, because you're so and so and so ages wise, we don't really like respect what you guys are doing to a certain degree. It's hard. Wallah, it's really hard. But obviously it's trying to change that, and being strong enough to change it, where we're trying to do. But subhanAllah, through charity, it's become easier.
Yeah, it sounds like you got your work cut out for you, man. No, like, I respect it, bro.
Through charity, it's become easier. I'll be serious, but through charity, it's become easier, because subhanAllah, I think the barakah from Allah Azza wa Jal just made it easier, because people can't come to us from different places, and like now we've got links. North Africans in America, North Africans in Australia, North Africans in like Holland, France, and stuff like that. We know each other now. And it's like I've made friends through what we've been doing in the charity sector that I think I'll have for the rest of my life. I've met people genuinely within my own community that I could never have met. Like, I live in Northwest London. Why, like, it doesn't make sense for me to meet like people that are like me in East London and stuff like that. Like, I've never been there. You know what I'm saying? There's no reason for me to be there.
East London's like a different country.
You know what I'm saying? There's literally no reason for me to be there. But yeah, subhanAllah, it is hard, but we have to work on it, inshallah. Yeah,
man, I think it's amazing. Like I said, it's like it sounds like you got your work cut out for you, but definitely something that's lofty, man. Like trying to change the course of an entire generation. Yeah. And you're right, I never thought about that. I guess we are like, for me, we're second generation. Like my granddad came over.
Then that's second generation.
My mum was born here.
Yeah.
My dad's first generation, as in, my dad, we're first generation on my dad's side, but really we're second generation, because my mum's whole family was here, my mum's parents and stuff. So I guess I haven't thought about it in that way, and that's a really interesting thing. But I think that the movement that I see you guys doing online is really powerful, and sometimes it's amazing to think that you guys have like a nice, you got like this nice small unit, and it's like your one community, but you guys speak loud, bro. Like when you have a message to put out, like you said, you're connected with like other people who have created their own North African societies and stuff, so it's powerful.
And there's power in the youth.
Yeah, that's true.
And wallahi, there's power in the youth. 17, 18, 19-year-olds. We've got energy, bro. Like everyone's got energy, and it's like they don't know where to use it. And you see why like a lot of people go into the wrong things. Channel that in the right things. Channel that in goodness. And wallahi, like young people are the ummah. SubhanAllah, I was having a conversation with Ustad Jamal about this, and I think he'd like me saying this, I think, on camera. But he's saying this as well. And the reason why I love him so much, and I have to give him a shout out, wallahi, Ustad Jamal, what a man, Allahu Akbar. But he always tells me, and he has a passion of the youth, because he's like, he understands that the power of the ummah is through the youth, and like you can change anything. Because that's how generations are formed. Because it's like build, nurture, and then inspire the younger generation and keep it moving. But yeah, wallahi.
Yeah, he's a powerful man. I tell everyone that like one of the most powerful things I learned from him was when he was talking about character and how our character should be, and how we should be so nice and loving to people.
Yeah.
And one of the quotes that he said, which we often talk about, is that he says you should shake somebody's hand with your right hand and take their heart with your left, in the sense that like while you're busy shaking their hand, you're already capturing their heart, like with the beauty in your character. So that's like something that we remember often, man, and like we turn back to and remind ourselves of, and his tarbiyah is ahead of its time, man.
Amazing.
Yeah, do you know what? It's actually interesting to say that, because normally if someone is like revolutionary in their message, you would say they're ahead of their time, like in everything other than religion.
Yeah.
But with religion, he's actually like correctly behind his time. Like he's like following the classical methods and stuff. And that's what we need to do. Like I think with everything that we do in life, we need to be ahead of our time with regards to like business, work,
100%,
education.
100%.
But then with the religion, we actually need to go in reverse and
Especially
go
as
as far
Muslims as
back
well.
as we can.
Especially as Muslims as well. Because and subhanAllah, I wanted to say one thing. A lot of people used to say to me in the past that if you have a teacher that you love, religion becomes like your deen becomes something completely different. Like it's like akhlaq, mannerisms, the way in which the person behaves, you want to embody that. And meeting someone like him, Allahu Akbar, it's like you want to change the way you are to try and become a better person because of him. Allahu Akbar.
Yeah, I've heard many good stories from many people, man.
Yeah,
it's powerful. What we'll do, Zach, is so basically what we are doing at Freshly Grounded is we are currently working on something that I can't really speak about too much, but I can enough to hopefully get my point across. And that is that we're basically working on this, like, so what Freshly Grounded does is we have conversations, right? And what we want to do is we want to encourage more people, whether they are brothers, sisters, brother and sister, mum and dad, you and your mom, you and a stranger, you and your wife, etc. If basically what we're doing is we're creating this like initiative to encourage them kind of conversations, right? More conversations like Freshly Grounded to kind of allow people to like have deeper conversations. So that the actual thing itself I probably can't say yet. I'm not sure, I might be able to, but anyway,
classified information.
It's not really, but we want to launch it properly. The point is that I'm going to ask you some of the questions that are within this campaign.
Okay.
And the idea of this is that you're meant to be able to think deep and have the type of conversation that you don't normally have day to day with people, right?
Okay.
Because the questions are simple, but you're meant to seek the answer, like,
from within.
From within.
That's it. I think that's the right word to use.
Okay, let's go with let's see. Let's try and find one. Okay, this is a good one for your age. Yeah. Finish the sentence. When I am double your age, so 40.
Okay.
I would like to be blank.
Ooh, that's interesting. I want to be a great dad.
Wow.
I think that's the most important thing. I want to be a great dad.
Is that because of your relationship with your dad now?
With my dad, yes. I want to be a great dad, inshallah, and focus on family life. And like they say, change your household or perfect your household and start from there, and then try to build your environment and your community.
I like that. I like it a lot.
I'm just looking at you because I'm like, you're a dad now, and I'm like, give me the wisdom, please.
Bro, do you know what? I heard something about being a dad that I found amazing, and I want to live it, right? And it's this speech that's really popular online. And in that speech, he mentioned that his dad would wake up. His dad would start work at like 6, right?
Yeah.
But he'd like wake up at 3:45 or something. Crazy. And the wife would go to the husband, why do you wake up at that time? And he goes, because maybe one day one of my children will see me, like they'll be up at that time, and they'll see me in the act of excellence.
Bro, can I just say something?
What?
You're going to put me into tears. Sorry. Can I just say something?
Yeah, go.
You know what you just said now?
Yeah.
Wallahi, that is my father.
Really?
I'm telling you, bro. Like, I remember growing up, I'd be 13, 14, 15. I'm in secondary school. 3:45, 4 a.m. in the morning.
No way.
My dad's a cab driver. He'd start work at that time, and he wouldn't finish until I come back from school. So 6, 7, 8.
Wow.
And I never understood it. I never understood, how can a man work that hard?
Yeah.
I was like subhanallah, like, are you a machine? What are
Yeah.
you? Evia, what are you, like, you machine? And I just didn't and now I understand it.
Yeah.
Because as you grow older, you see the wisdom.
Yeah.
You're like, what's the purpose of us in this world? What is the purpose?
Worship Allah.
Worship Allah. And provide for your family.
Yeah.
Yeah?
So,
And that embodiment is that.
mm.
Because subhanAllah, the way in which I saw him, I don't want to talk too much about my father, but it was like, wake up in the morning, 3 o'clock, or whenever Fajr was. It was like Fajr, go to the masjid, pray there, your salah, and then go make coffee at home, go straight to work. Every salah in the masjid. Come back home, he's with us, we have dinner together, go to sleep, we have before we sleep we have our chats and whatnot, catch up on the day. Then it was the same thing, repeat over and over and over again for years. And I never understood it. Dad, why are you doing this? Have fun. Go and enjoy yourself. Go on holiday. I don't know. Like, but it was like my parents were they sacrificed everything for us that now I just want to repay everything. And that's why, like, when you ask me about being 40, I want to do the exact same thing. But spend more time with my kids in the sense that grow with them. That's why I want kids young. I don't know why I've always wanted it.
I've always wanted kids.
Yeah, I always
young.
wanted
May
kids
Allah
young.
bless you with healthy children at a young age. I mean, all right. I'm liking that, so I'm gonna give you another question.
Okay.
Okay, this one's an interesting one, but because we're not going live on this episode, I think let's try it. So it was, I can't find it, but it was something like, who do you appreciate that doesn't know or might not know? Because I can't find the exact one. Probably, yeah, who do you appreciate that probably doesn't know it? And added to that, it's a maybe, you might say no, but added to that, give them a call and tell them you appreciate them.
I need to get my phone out for that one. Someone I appreciate that they don't know.
Not that doesn't necessarily know, but like maybe that doesn't know it, how much you appreciate them. Could just be a friend. It could be anyone.
Someone who's just... Do you know what? SubhanAllah. I have someone in mind, but he's not in the country right now. One of my best friends, his name is Rashid, is Afghan.
Okay.
SubhanAllah is getting married actually. He's my age, he's getting married.
wow.
He went over to Afghanistan to get
Amazing.
married there. But yeah, he is one person. I don't think I could call him right now. I think it won't work.
No, I don't think it would work, yeah.
but yeah, he's the one that I appreciate. Like, I don't say it enough.
Yeah.
But you try to show it with your, like, it's my best friend.
Oh.
In any situation, bro. Wallahi, when I tell you, any situation. Like, I'll be in the maddest of situations. I need help.
Yeah,
Yo, bro.
Like that, yeah.
Yo, bro. It's like probably, I'm pretty sure you have someone like that.
Yeah, but
That's like
definitely, man.
I wish I could call him right now, but I think he's in the middle of his nikah.
All right, I'm going to try and find you another one. I'm going to keep going. What are you avoiding lately?
We're going deep with this one. Do you want me to be honest?
Yeah.
Avoiding.
Or the follow-up question for that is, what are you preventing yourself from feeling? So any of those two probably means.
Yeah, I think they go hand in hand.
Yeah.
I overthink a lot.
Okay.
And I know from the shaitan a lot of it.
Yeah.
Oh, I overthink a lot. And we're going personal with this, but it's okay. And it can affect a person's mind, especially being around my age where it's like I'm still getting to know who I am and stuff like that. And I think what I'm avoiding is I don't like not feeling okay. Where it's like if I'm sad, I always want to get back to being happy again. That's why everyone sees me, oh, this guy is always smiling, always chatty, always trying to make other people happy. And it's like sometimes I forget about myself. Do you know what I'm saying? And it's like I avoid being in that state for long. But sometimes it's natural and you should like feel the emotions.
Yeah, there's definitely an importance of feeling those emotions. And I also, just to your point of like saying that when you're like often seen as that guy who's like really happy, and I see you as that guy as well. But one thing I know, I suppose that I've like picked up on with over time with age and stuff is that the people who are always perceived as happy, they've got a deeper, they've got like
Yes, bro. Yes.
Like
yes,
some
yes.
deepness to them, right?
Yes.
And like everybody does, but you can crack that if you just sit down and have a conversation with them, and there's probably a lot that they want to say
Yeah.
but they always kind of, I think being happy all the time means that you're constantly looking out for everyone.
Yeah.
Because all right, so I'm not happy all the time, right? Like
No, you're not.
Like, no. Like I wear my heart on my sleeve. Like, if I'm frustrated, everyone knows I'm frustrated, right? And I think that comes from a selfish trait of not wanting you to, of not being like desperate for you to have a good time. But it's like I'm feeling rough, so like I don't care about being happy. But when you're feeling rough and you're still trying to be happy, perhaps it's because you don't want other people to not be happy. And you know, when you're feeling rough and you show that you're rough, you ruin the mood in the room.
Yeah.
And maybe you don't want to ruin the mood in the room. Is that what it is?
I think there's elements of truth in that, in the sense that 100%. I do feel like that, where it's like because I'm sad, I don't want other people to be sad, and I don't want to ruin the mood. I don't want to ruin the vibe. I'd rather leave where I am and be quiet than make anyone else feel the same way, if you know what I'm saying. Because as humans, we can be very selfish, and I always think to myself, how did the Prophet like deal with situations? And like, subhanAllah, but like I always think about that, and I think, how did the Prophet deal with this situation? And it's always at the back of my mind, subhanAllah. Whenever I'm angry, I know I'm angry. Do you ever feel like that, where you're angry, you're angry, you're being irrational, but in that split second, you don't know what you could do. So just be quiet and try to deal with it yourself.
No, I don't get like that, but I think that it's better to be like that. Like Kareem's like that, and like other people in the office are like that.
Yeah.
Whereas when I'm angry, everybody knows it, and that's not nice. It's like an erratic way to be.
Yeah,
so I think that what you're saying is very, very nice.
Yeah. It's something hard to deal with. I know something very hard to deal with, because when you're in that situation, Allah, it's hard. I had the experience like that yesterday.
What happened?
Yesterday. Should I say this? Oh yeah. Okay.
Go on.
I was in.
We need the juice here. Freshly grounded.
I was in a gathering.
Okay.
I was in a gathering and I heard something I didn't want to hear. Well, I said something, like someone said something I just didn't want to hear. And in that situation, all I could think about was myself. Where it's like, why are you saying that? I don't agree with what you're saying. You're making me feel a certain type of way. I don't like that, because I don't like what you said to me there. I'm angry. But what I did was, I did something which I was like, I left the gathering. I walked outside. I just went on a long walk. I apologized. I said, you guys, thank you so much for organizing this, but I'm just going to go on a long walk. And having friends that understand you and how your mind works and how you deal with situations, because I could easily, if I don't like something, I could easily pull them up on it and be angry and
But
shout.
that's never the right way to be.
But I've never been like that.
Yeah, it's not the right way to be.
I've never been like that. And I don't know what it is. SubhanAllah, this is, we're going to take me to a different tangent. I don't know what it is, but I've always seen it since I was young. I've always seen it. I was like, I see the way some people react. They act very angry, and I've seen in my family as well, act very angry, where it's like rash, like erratic, and it's like lash out at everything and just say things you don't want to say. And it's like, I always looked at that and thought, there's no benefit in it. Because like, you're gonna lash out.
Some shaitan, yeah.
Well, like, you're gonna lash out, you're gonna hurt someone's feelings, and then what's the benefit from that after? So that's why sometimes I just prefer to walk. I love my walks. I love my runs. I like to run a lot.
Yeah, that's good, man. They say that I think it's the national. There's a journal, and I think it's called the National Institute for Medicine.
Yeah.
And they talk about stress and worry, and they break down like the harmful effects of it on the human body and the cardiovascular system. And they explain that one of the solutions, not this the solution, but one of the remedies is exercise.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Because everyone has their vice, and like you might want to read a book, or I don't know, what would you like to do to stress relief? Make podcasts. Have you ever thought about that?
Yeah, I'm not very good at like getting out of that stress. I've actually got a YouTube video coming out about stress, not in the way of teaching how to de-stress because I'm not that guy.
Do you know what I loved? I was watching it yesterday actually. I watched it before, but I watched it yesterday because I knew I was coming here. I loved the video you made about how to be a morning person.
Oh, thanks, man.
I think that
quite
was sick. I think that was sick. I think a lot of people should watch that.
I appreciate
because
that.
it was like that reduces stress. Being a morning person and having the bulk of the day, like you said, I think personally reduces stress levels. Because whatever challenge comes your way, you know you've woken up early, you know you've done so, and psychologically you're like,
you're on a winning streak.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And a lot, like you said, a lot of successful people say that as well.
Are you a morning person?
I am a morning person.
That's good. Because your dad.
Your
dad was a morning person.
To a certain degree, yeah. More so when I'm at uni or when I'm working.
Do you enjoy studying for uni, like preparing for exams and stuff?
Do you know what? I don't like it in the moment, but I miss it after.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
It's mad, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't like it in the moment because it's like stress, it's that. But I miss it after. Like this year, because of coronavirus, obviously, I don't have any exams.
Yeah.
And I hated it.
Yeah. It's nice, that library vibe, innit?
You know what it is? I thrive under pressure.
Yeah.
And I love pressure. And a lot of people don't understand it with me because it's like whenever my parents are like this with me and they understand how I am, where if they pressure me, if they pressure me to do a certain thing or to try and achieve a certain thing, then I'm most likely to thrive under it. Whereas if you're relaxed, I don't know, it's always been me where it's like if I have no pressure, do you think it's a boy thing or I don't know what it is? Whereas if I have no pressure, I won't perform as better.
Yeah, I think to an extent pressure is good. Yeah, there's a level of pressure that's good.
Too much is where it gets.
Yeah, too much pressure is bad.
Yeah.
And it's a fine line.
Yeah. But I think I like it to a certain degree.
We're having some technical issues with your camera, but it seems to be working fine for now. But it's fine because we've done almost an hour. About 45 minutes, but it's been a lovely chat. But what we'll do is we'll carry on until technicalities break down, which shouldn't be happening anytime soon. But we'll go to another question, which is, what's a question you've always wanted to ask me but haven't been able to? And I asked that because I know that you've been a freshly grounded listener for you've been
since the beginning.
You've been loyal.
The first year.
Really?
The first year.
Oh.
I remember the intro. I remember the intro right when it started.
We still got it going strong.
Yeah. So a question to ask you that I've always wanted to ask but never have. How do you maintain happiness? Because you know why, Faisal, I look up to you a lot.
No, you shouldn't.
No. As in, I look up to you a lot when it comes to this field because
the field of happiness.
No,
I'm not a very happy person.
I think you are.
No.
You radiate a lot of back. You radiate a lot of
you go to the wrong person.
Positive energy, and like I see you as like an older version, someone that I'd look up to in terms of what you do.
Oh, that's an honor. That's a pleasure, man.
And how do you like maintain that?
Yeah, I think what I'll do is just pause your camera, let it cool down. Maintain happiness. You're going to have to give me a second to think about it so I can give you a proper answer, like an answer that you deserve.
Doing what you love as well.
How do you do what you love?
Yeah, as in how do you maintain your happiness doing your job as well? So it's like having all the external pressures as well. Cause it's very cliche in it, but it's like
I think true happiness for me, this sounds cliche, but I think overall happiness for me came after I started practicing.
Thank you.
And I think
that's what I was looking for.
I think that the happiness comes from no longer having to have your guard up for social pressures at all times. All of a sudden you put your guard down and you're not as concerned about things anymore, and you don't feel as anxious. even though you still go through different types of anxiety, and like as a Muslim, you go through like the anxiety of people. You go through the anxiety of like if you sin, you go through the anxiety of like feeling
low
and stuff like that, which is a good anxiety to have.
Yeah.
But I think that when you hopefully are like into your faith, what it does is it should allow you to be only honest from now on. It allows you to not have to lie even when you're joking. It allows you to like be a good person. It reminds you that you have to call your parents, and so on and so forth and so on and so forth. And when you start implementing these things, I think you're happy because you don't have baggage. Like, you know the feeling, bro, when you have like loads of emails to go through.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, I'll go get through my emails, go through my emails. It's like, oh, like imagine having like a clean inbox that's done.
Yeah.
I think like practicing your faith is like that. Like when you're not practicing, I think you naturally will make mistakes because you don't understand the seriousness of issues.
Yeah.
Like you might get a car on finance.
You become very worldly.
Maybe. There's that.
Yeah.
But like let's say for example you get a car on finance, right? Because you don't really see it as a big issue, like with interest, right?
Yeah.
And then maybe like you don't realize if that's added a burden to you, whereas Islamically it's like you almost live a life where you're kind of preparing for accepting death, and so you try not to do things. You try to think your life in, if I die now, like,
am I happy?
Am I gonna be? No, am I happy? But am I gonna be?
Where will I be?
Am I gonna have issues? Like,
Yeah.
if you, for example, don't have any debts and you die
Yeah.
now, then like, you know, the seriousness of dying with debts is so strong. They say that there's a hadith which basically explains that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was talking about a man who died with debts, and somebody said, look, I'll pay this person's debts, and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam asked that person like the next day, have you paid that person's debts yet? He said no. And then the next day he asked him sallallahu alaihi wasallam, have you paid that person's debt yet? And then he said yes, something like that. And then the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam explained, okay, now his body will start to cool down. So imagine all that time, because he died on debt, his body was like burning in the grave, bro.
Yeah.
And then like when
you know what's like, you focused on that a lot, the debt thing in one of your videos about money management.
Yeah.
I remember I was watching.
Because I understand how easy it is to get into like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And
the severity is not really understood.
I didn't understand the severity of it. So when I wasn't really practicing, I didn't really understand the severity of that. And I've never been great at money management. I'm still not the best at it. But when you understand the seriousness of your money, and then knowing that you could die today, and then you got all of these things. Like, for example, someone told me something, right? And so first of all, to end the point, I probably don't have the best answer for you, but I guess like from trying to be the best Muslim, I'm not saying being the best Muslim, I'm saying from trying to be the best Muslim that you can, you get a level of reassurance, or like the opposite of anxiety, that perhaps gives you happiness long term. So maybe that's what it is. But if we move on from that topic and we just talk about this money situation, right? Something I heard was really powerful, and we were talking about like this is powerful, man. Change perspective for me. Talks about the idea of Hajj not being compulsory on you. Yeah. So Hajj is not compulsory on a person who can't afford it. Yeah. Right. And so a person might call up. So a person,
I think it was Minister alayhi sabila, meaning if you don't have the funds for it, then it's okay.
Right. And a person called up a sheikh and said, like, what if like I want to get a car or something, right? And the sheikh but like I also need to go to Hajj, right? Yeah. And the sheikh said that if you need a car, right, to like you're living this life and it's difficult and you save up a bit of money, you can get a car so you can make things work, but you haven't been to Hajj. You're allowed to get the car. This is what he was saying, right? Even if you haven't been to Hajj, like you can live your life. Right?
Yeah.
But he said the scary thing is when somebody has a car, it's perfectly functioning, it gets you from A to B, it does well, it carries your family over, everything's fine, and you've saved up £10,000 and you decide to get another car, right? And he said, is that second car now halal for you? in the sense that you haven't been to your first Hajj yet,
Yeah.
and you have the money for your Hajj, and you have what you need to like get by. But now you're just for the sake of luxury, you want to get a nicer car, right? But you haven't been to Hajj and you have that 10 grand there, and that's how much it costs for two of you to go to Hajj.
Yeah.
So that put things into perspective for me, that like, if you haven't been to Hajj is compulsory for the Muslim, and if we haven't been to Hajj and we die, let's at least die with the intention that I was intending to go to Hajj as soon as possible.
Hajj,
And that works by like doing stuff like starting a Hajj fund in your savings, or like having that intention that we are going to every year making intention I'm going to go next year and stuff like that. So that was something powerful. I haven't been to Hajj. We had planned to go.
Though?
Yeah, I've been to Umrah a few times. Let me turn your camera back and see if it's calm as well. I've been to Umrah a few times. I've never been to Hajj.
How was that?
But yeah, amazing, man. We went, last time I went was in the last 10 days of Ramadan, which was very hot. It was very amazing. We didn't do itikaf there. My father-in-law did though.
Okay.
But yeah, that was powerful, man. Subhanallah. Hajj I haven't been to. We had the intention to go to Hajj.
Yeah.
And so now we'll see, inshallah, man. We'll see what happens. Always, it's dependent upon many factors.
Yeah. My father's been. I'm going to talk about my father again.
No, bro. It's amazing, bro. The fact that you love speaking about your father is such an amazing thing. Honestly, you shouldn't be embarrassed by it at all.
Yeah, my dad's been.
You're making me feel embarrassed by why not? Your dad's been Hajj, yeah?
Yeah, my dad's been to Hajj.
What did he say about it?
Man, I sort of changing him completely.
Yeah.
Well, like him and my grandparents as well, because my mum's side is not as practicing as my dad's side, and it's like I saw the difference between my granddad and my grandma before and after, where it's like before weren't as practicing. They come back. SubhanAllah, it's like I don't know what's happened. And the last 30 years, the last about 15 years since they've come back from Hajj, because they didn't go before that, completely different people in every way, mannerisms, akhlaq, you name it.
Changes people, man.
Wallahi. And yeah, I don't know. I was going to ask you a question. How was your Ramadan this year?
I really enjoyed my Ramadan this year.
This year?
Yeah, I really enjoyed my Ramadan this year because okay, so obviously the masajid were closed, but normally in Ramadan I'm doing like a lot of work.
Yeah.
And I like a lot of TV appeals and stuff like that, and I decided to turn them all down this year because I just wanted to focus.
I saw you came off social media, and then you came off a lot of like you didn't do as much content this year.
Yeah, I came off social media as well. I'm not on Instagram at all. Yeah, I made a video about it.
How comes?
I watched the video.
I've watched that.
There's a video called on my YouTube called "I detoxed from social media for 5 months and here's what happened."
Yeah. And
it basically talks about how I detoxed for 5 months. And then I came back and I realized that I enjoyed more being off of Instagram than being on it.
It's true though, isn't it?
Yeah. But watch the video, bro, and see if you can do it.
Can I ask a question? Are you extroverted naturally or introverted?
Yeah.
You're extroverted naturally.
Yeah, definitely. I feed off of the energy of people, bro.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
So you're like me. So, do you crave attention, or I don't want to sound like a bit invasive, but do you crave attention as a human,
right?
Being an extrovert, or is it like you crave it but you regret it after?
I think that Allah,
obviously being a creator as well.
Yeah, I think Allah has given everybody certain traits, right? And the Sheikh was telling me, Sheikh Tim, about okay, so he was reading this biography by this man, yeah, and this man in his biography, this Sheikh, this person, he wrote a letter to Imam Ahmed. Okay. And he said to Imam Ahmed, something along the lines of, why do you, like, you need to, like, focus on your own, like, private worship, like, rather than, like, spending so much time, like, teaching others and writing books and stuff. Imagine saying that to Imam Ahmed. And then, and then Imam Ahmed responded, and he said that, like, Allah makes different things, different acts of worship easy for different people, and this is something that's been made easy for me, and that's why I do it. And so I think Allah gives people traits, right? Like different traits that are easy for them.
Yeah.
And I've got videos of me when I was like 4 years old, 3 years old, 5 years old, as a child, and my family would come around, and I'm in the middle dancing for them and making them laugh and all that kind of stuff. And I think like I've always wanted to be an entertainer. I've always wanted to like make people happy, like in front of me, right? And And so I think that's what it is, and I enjoy it. And so what happened is when I started practicing, I thought, oh, I can't do that, and then I realized that I can, but I could do it in such a more beautiful way.
That's what I'm saying, and that's the problem, because when you start practicing right at the beginning, it's like,
yeah, I can't do
I have to like box myself in and be this person that I'm not, and that's what people need to understand. You can be fun and practicing as well.
Bro, I started. So I done a video, like a little. I don't know if I put it on in my Instagram or what, but like my dream when I wasn't practicing would have been to like be on front of a stage in front of like 5,000 people, right? Like in the biggest arena. Same. Just like crack joke. And so I got asked to host the Mufti Bank tour, and it culminated at the XL Arena in front of 5,000 people, and 5,000 people.
East London, right?
Yeah. And they asked me to host it. And so throughout this tour, I had been hosting all the other events. And as the tour went on, I started bringing more and more my personality to hosting. So I started with going, Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters, welcome to Mufti Bank tour. And then I started coming on the stage, like, oh, like I can see the brothers have put on their utter today and whatever, like just trying to like be me. And so it culminated at the XL, and by then I was like just feeling like myself, and I had a really good time hosting this event. And I remember making this video and saying that before when I started practicing, I was really upset one day because I realized that I can't ever like do what I want to do.
We were having a conversation before,
and now I'm doing it in a way that inshallah is pleasing Allah, because not only am I doing that, but I'm doing it on an Islamic event. And so so you don't lose out when you start practicing. You actually win, and Allah aids you, and He'll help you, inshallah. Use your personality that you're gifted to you for good, right? But sometimes you think to yourself, no, but my skill is X, and there's no way I can do X if I'm practicing. But you'll realize that it's something within that X that is actually your skill, and Allah is going to make it go where you got to take the first step for Him.
Wallahi, you hit the nail on the head, bro. Wallahi, this is so important. This type of conversation is so important. And when you're speaking to me right at the beginning about people my age and what we wanted to do and stuff like that, this is the confusing part. This is the part that we don't know, because it's like you said, you have this gift, you have this thing that you want to pursue, but you have so many options where it's like you have the mainstream, you have the Muslim scene. You're inclined, your soul, your nafs is inclined for the mainstream, but your soul is inclined for the Muslim scene, and it's like trying to like merge it and whatnot. But in reality, wallahi, pleasing Allah through what you do, like you said, is the most important thing.
And the barakah comes with it, bro. But you can't, bro, you can't predict it, because Allah does things that we can't. We're so limited in our knowledge. But all you got to do is take the step, and then He'll show you after. Wallahi. But you have to show the step, because you got to take the step and prove it to Him, to yourself. That's why Allah says, do you think that you'll be left to say, I believe, and you won't be tested? You know what I mean? That's the test is taking that step, man. Wallahi, and I always describe it as whether it's like my little sister who wanted to start wearing hijab, or if it's like a brother who wants to stop doing X or Y, I always describe it in the same way. I say that I feel like it's like this move that you want to make, you know it's for the right thing. I feel like it's like you're on a cliff, right? And you have to jump. And you know 100% that there's a net like a foot after that cliff. You're going to jump and you're going to land into like the softest mattress, right? But you can't see it. The only you're 100% certain is there. Right? The only thing you have to do is make that jump, and I promise that mattress is there. That net is there, and that's like Allah. Like when you make that jump to Allah, He just wants to see you make the jump, and all of a sudden, as soon as you make the jump, it's like, all right, and He was there for you all along. But you have to prove it, man. You can't just like be like, oh, I want the best over this. That. No, prove it. Like make the jump. Quit that thing that you want.
It's like relationships with people, bro. It's like even friendships. It's like you say you love me as a friend, this, that, but what are you actually doing? Where's the action? Where are we acting? And I wanted to flip a question on you, actually, subhanAllah, about Muslim creatives. You're a creative. Your whole family is basically creatives. Your brothers are creative as well. And how do you think, like what I said earlier about being young and not having, and like finding it difficult and like confusing and stuff like that. Let's take it back. Let's say you are 20 years old right now in this situation right now, and you wanted to start up or you wanted to do whatever you want to do. Let's say you're an artist, or I don't know, you're a calligraphist or whatever you are. How hard is it in our scene?
It's not hard. It's not hard at all, bro. And the reason it's not hard is because people don't do, bro. Like we have great ideas, but no one does. And I think the reason we don't do things, we don't action things, is because we think that other people have done it or it's not going to go anywhere. But you'll be shocked. You'll be shocked, bro. We did something this week that, subhanAllah, has been groundbreaking for us internally.
Inshallah.
That we never thought would be possible, and it was just because we had the idea, we did it. And oftentimes we don't do it, bro. Like you can see a set right here, right? The set that we built.
Oh, that's cool.
Bro, that even we still don't know what we're gonna film in that set.
Yeah.
But we had the idea that we want to utilize the space that we have and let's build another set, and we did it. But now I'm motivated to create content for it. But imagine if we didn't do that because we thought, oh, that's a bad idea, we don't have content for it. So I think that if anybody, the only thing I can say, because this is the only experience I have, is do it. And if you fail, bro, I've failed so many times. No one cares. You know, sometimes we think about like what other people think, but bro, people forget. Like if you failed, maybe one or two people will go, oh, you see, my man, he flopped. And then that's it. They're so busy with their own life, bro. Do you know what's crazy, bro? There's this book that I'm reading right now, and what he says in the book is that when somebody else dies, someone across the world is dying, has died. On this end, a headache to a person on this end, a headache that they're going through for them is more severe and important than someone else dying on the other side of the world.
Selfish.
Because this headache is bugging me now. I need paracetamol, I need anything to get this headache out of the tooth. Have you ever had a really bad toothache, bro? You do anything to get out of the toothache. But bro, your toothache to you is more important than someone else's cancer. Because you're not going through it. So just like that, when you flop and you fail, bro, people move on. So if you're scared of what other people say, trust me, they don't care. They're not even gonna, they might not even see.
You know, you just spoke about something, cancer. Can I go into that topic?
Of course.
A bit? Basically, I'll explain it to you straight away. The way in which I got into, I'm diversing the conversation right now into a different thing. The way in which I got into charities, subhanAllah, was because of a friend of mine. I don't know if you've heard this. I think I've told you this story. No, I didn't tell you the story. And I always like to mention him and everything, because I think, inshallah, and I make dua, Allah gives him barakah for all the things, like every action that I make now, and for the sake of Allah, I want him to get reward for as well. And I want to mention this as well, because it's just come into my mind. But my friend, his name is Hamza, Allah yarhamhu bihamdillah, he passed away when he was 19, terminal with cancer. I met him in the last 3 months of his life. And you know when you meet someone, you just click like that, like khalas, like you met him one day, he's from the same country as me, so he's Algerian. He's from the actual country, so he was born there and everything. Came here, his uncle brought him over to like give him treatment and stuff like that. Last 3 months of his life, I met him, and I saw something in him. What you were saying earlier about just do it. I saw something in him that I hadn't seen in anybody in this whole world. Because I told you before, like my dad shows me the whole just do it mentality every single day, but him, he showed me something that I've never seen in anyone. They had to amputate one of his arms. And imagine not having an arm. The stories, you know what he used to tell me? The stories he would tell me, he'd be like, I don't have an arm, bro. And it's like, I feel like I have an arm. It's amputated, but I still feel it because the nerves are still there. And he never let him stop it. He never let it stop him. He was an artist, bro, with one arm. An artist. Every single day that I was with him, terminal cancer, if you know anyone with terminal cancer, you know the pain is unbearable. There is something in your system, like you said, just a little headache, and we're crying about it, or we're saying, get it out of my system right now. This guy had bowel cancer, and it traveled up to his brain, and it took over his whole arm, where he had to cut it off to try and stop it from growing. And it was like, he showed me a don't stop, don't ever give up attitude, where it was like, regardless of where you are in the world, regardless of what pain you're going through, just do it. don't stop. And wallahi, if I show you some of his paintings, bro, you will be shocked.
Really?
Wallahi, you'll be shocked. May
I believe
Allah
it.
preserve him. May Allah grant him Jannah.
Ameen.
But since then, and he showed me another thing where it's like, do you know the paintings that he used to paint? Yeah, it was like, you know, that you see that right in front of you right there. It's like a little canvas type thing on the floor.
Yeah.
It was like that, and he'd auction them off for charity,
Oh,
and that's what got me into charity.
wow.
And I was like, and you know, it's
May Allah-
in
may
our
Allah
religion.
give him Jannah.
Ameen,
Jannah
Ismail.
Firdaus. Ameen.
And you know, in our religion, like, we don't like it teaches us to see the sick and go and see the sick, but you don't understand the wisdom of it. There's a different wisdom of going to see the sick. It's not just you giving up your time. I got to a stage where I was learning from him more than he was helping me more than I was helping him, because I was there with him, and it was like I told you, he was showing me to never give up, regardless of where you are, regardless of what position, regardless of what situation you are. Never ever give up. And now from then on, subhanAllah, I've just taken it on board. But yeah, I just wanted to speak about that because it was like, yeah.
No, it's very, very powerful. It's interesting to hear kind of what drives you. And look, bro, I think that I pray that Allah puts barakah in whatever you do, man, because I think that you've got like the tools for success, man, like the right intention, the drive. It sounds like you have a great dad.
I think we're good that way.
And that's the kind of stuff you need, man. And so I really pray that Allah puts barakah in what you do. You're at the start, you know, and so anything I can do to aid you, you know, you have my number and you're more than welcome to just call me anytime, man. And I appreciate all the love that you've given to Freshly Grounded. Thank you so much, Zach, for jumping on Freshly Grounded. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for everything. It's been a pleasure, as they say. And yeah.
Yeah, the pleasure's been all ours.
I just said earlier, you were like, yes, my people. That's not it, bro.
What is it?
Yo, my people.
So he's like an old man. You know, like an old man trying to like be in with the crowd.
Yeah.
Like
Cool kid.
Yeah. Anyway, all right, guys. Thank you so much for watching Freshly Grounded, and thank you so much, Zach. Let's cut it off.